Hey, it's Manuel, Coach Moose here from manuel.com or moosesloose.com. You take your pick, you know it. And today I'm at Engineer Bodies, and I'm hanging out with Coach AA, Anthony. Can you pronounce your last name? Agtrap. We were just laughing about it because I tried pronouncing his name, and I had I do win the award for the best, worst pronunciation of Anthony's name. Anthony, can you give us a bit of background? So how long have you been in the health and fitness industry?
In the health and fitness industry, a little over 8 years. But it always started with a passion. I've always been doing strength and conditioning ever since I played basketball in college and things like this. And picking up things from Coach Men's Health Fitness kind of thing, right? That's where I started. And then meeting people, really fortunate to meet some really good people along the way. Sure. That kind of shaped the way that I think about movement and fitness. And just kind of continuing to evolve and then applying that knowledge to our clientele here. That's kind of how it's going, right? So.
And you take a really unique approach to what I look at as a holistic approach to overall fitness and integrating that with wellness and health. Because you look at the body very different than a lot of other coaches. You know, a lot of us are used to linear patterns, you know, up and down motions, where you take more of the functionality of movement, and then you start to get that right, and then start to load it. And in particular with the methodology of functional movement screening, FMS, and that's why I'm here today. And so maybe you can give a bit of background. What is FMS?
So the FMS is it's a system called the Functional Movement Systems. It's developed by a group of guys. Mainly the main guy is Greg Cook, and he's a physiotherapist and a strength conditioning coach. Greg Cook.
Right here. Move well, then move often. Okay, I like that.
So the concept is for the screening anyway. It's the FMS, so functional movement screen, and it's a series of 7 movement patterns that we put all of our clients through. And what it does, it essentially gives you like a score, and it rates and ranks each movement, and ultimately assesses your risk to injury. Okay. So one way to think about it is like, how close are we to being human? Like, right? Because when we were 4 years old, we could move really easily. Like we had good core stability, all that business, mobility, stability, it was all there, and we didn't require any sort of training, right? So, but as we age, as we get injured, as we do this a lot more, we start to atrophy those movement patterns, which gets us a little bit further away from being like normal humans kind of thing, and more sort of like modern man, right? And increases our risk to injury, right? So we want to make sure that our clients are as close as they can to be towards a human first, and then we start to apply the stuff after that. You know, like actual strength and conditioning and things like this. Yeah.
So cool.
That's the idea.
So cool. And today we get to see how inefficient a moose moves. And that's okay, because this can be one of a 3-part series where we get an opportunity to learn a bit about FMS in this one, and you're going to see me go through an initial screening. And we'll get my score. And then Anthony will follow up also with some great resources. But on top of that, we're going to provide sort of some movement patterns that I can start to do on my own to reinforce the corrective action that needs to be taken for me to start to move better. And as I've shared on my blog and through social media, I've got some nagging injuries, you know, knee issues, a little bit of back issues, sometimes my shoulder acts up. And I know it's all being caused based on inefficiency in movement, and ultimately me favoring certain muscles to move my way through it. You know, we talked about your knees, and how you've sort of changed your pattern in order to deal with a bone bruise. So I know that's very common for people. You know, they got an injury. Well, how can we move better? Well, how can we adapt our movements so we don't have to nag it? But then that creates imbalances and blah, blah, blah. Wheels fall off. And so we'll move into that, and we'll follow this up with more over the weeks to come. And actually probably more months, because we'll do a retest in about 3 months' time. We'll see if I can get a passing grade. I'm highly dysfunctional. So let's go through that right now.
Okay, so how we score the screen is there's 7 movement patterns, right? Each one's scored from 0 to 3. So 3 is if you get the pattern, right? 2 is if you get it, but there's some compensations that you had to do to get it.
Right.
So 2s and 3s are good. Okay, this is fine.
Okay.
1 is if you can't do it because you fall outside of a range or something like this.
Sure.
Or else you can't get into position, things like this, right?
Yeah.
And then a 0 is if there's pain.
Okay.
Okay, so what we screen for is 1s and 0s.
Okay.
Because if there's 1s and 0s, that's like dysfunction.
Okay. So
Train, pause.
Yeah. It sounds neat, eh? When you go by, it almost sounds like an airplane.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like way longer.
Crazy
Sorry.
diesel. Okay, so the 2 patterns that we're going to look at, that kind of were the glaring ones.
Sure.
Is your hips.
Yeah.
So this is called the active straight leg raise. Okay, so are you seeing that? That shot there? Okay, that's the active straight leg raise. Yeah,
Okay.
and the other one's shoulder mobility. Those are the kind of the 2 most common ones that are kind of dangerous, or the ones we want to look for.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the highest your leg can go up, right there,
Yeah.
before some compensatory pattern happens. Okay, so in this case, this down leg wanted to externally rotate a little bit, or kind of wanted to come up a little. There's a gap. Yeah, started out with no gap, but then it starts to want to bend. Something's going on, right, for you to be able to have to lift this up.
Right.
Where did you feel? You feel something like you mentioned tightness? Or anything?
Yeah. No, I know my psoas.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I've had issues with that in the past, and I think we've talked about it before too. My SI joints have always been an issue for me.
Okay.
So based on that, especially doing certain lifting movements,
Yeah.
I know listen, I'm all about trying to brace those SI joints.
Yeah.
And I know I don't have my ranges of motion.
Right. Okay.
Not to aggravate things. So
For sure.
I know my hips. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done there.
Yeah. So this is like an unloaded pattern. Okay, so there's like, you're totally lying down.
Yeah.
We're like really pretty much like isolating this hip, right?
Yeah.
So I'll kind of show you how we score this. If we draw a line straight down from your ankle down,
Yeah.
you can see that that line lands somewhere on this side of the mid patella.
Right.
Okay, so anything on this side is a 1 score.
Okay.
Okay, so there was no pain in here, right? It was just like, it felt
Yeah, no,
limited,
there's no
right?
pain. Just it felt really tight. Like I was
Yeah.
really forcing it to move.
Right. And so this was a 1 score, okay? So the same thing with the other leg. Let's see the other leg there.
Yeah.
Okay? Same thing, you draw that line down, it lands somewhere on this side of that board, okay, before some compensatory pattern happens. So this shows that there's like some dysfunction happening. So your hips aren't functioning the way that they should be, like where our 4-year-old was, or when we were 4.
Right.
Okay? So the goal then is to try to figure out the next step, right? Is to figure out what's up with that. Like, how come your leg only goes up this high? Is it a mobility issue, or is it a motor control issue, or stability? Motor control and stability mean the same thing. So there's a specific way that we go through that and determine what's the deal.
Okay.
Once we figure that out, then we can prescribe a corrective strategy, and they're called corrective exercises. That's going to start to help bring you like to what a functional goal is.
Right.
So what we need to see is that like this leg is going to kind of come up here.
Yeah.
And if I draw that line down, it lands somewhere between this end zone, and mid patella, somewhere in here. Okay. That's kind of the sweet spot where we want to be. Okay. Anything beyond here is like a 3 score. So that.
Oh, I want a 3.
Yeah, you can do 3 probably. Why not? But the goal is 2s, eh? Because we want functional all the way down. This is fine. Okay? Cool. So that's that. Okay, the other one was a shoulder mobility one. So let's go to that's just right over left. Okay, so remember when I measured your hand?
Yes.
So that's an 8. So the way it works is if you were to when you bring your hands in close, if it's within your hand length, so it was like 7.8 or whatever, 7.9, then that's a 3 score.
Okay.
Anything that lands 1.5 times, like within 1.5 times of that hand, so somewhere in there, that's a 2, so that's good, that's what we want. Anything greater than that is a 1.
I got a 1!
Yeah, so you got 1s on this one too.
Normally 1's good, except an FMS screen.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a 1 there.
Alright.
And
Am I at least balanced on both sides? I think I am.
yeah, exactly.
See, there's nothing wrong with that. I got ones on both sides. That's in bodybuilding. That's called symmetry, right?
Exactly. Like this was
Worse. No, I think my right shoulder.
13, right? That's 13.
Yeah.
You see the measure, and this one's 14.
All right, and we'll have the images posted on the blog as well. Yeah.
So, but you can see that now there's like some metric that we can kind of determine. Again, the next step would be to determine, okay, what's up with that? Is that like, do you have all the bits and pieces to give you that particular pattern? Is it a mobility issue or is it a stability issue? And then we'll determine like the best corrective strategy.
So what was my overall score?
Overall score was a 12.
12.
But the one that you want to
But I want a
keep,
14.
yeah, 14, but really the ones that you can, because you
What
can
did I
have,
get a good one on? Those push-ups, didn't I?
yeah, the push-ups.
I
You-
aced
you-
them.
you nailed
Ha! At least I got something good.
what else? Yeah, push-ups.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it.
And the deep squat too, you got a 1 on that one.
Right.
And that was because, you know, there's a specific, like you're kind of dipping forward a little bit.
Yeah.
And that one ankle kind of wanted to sweep out a little bit. Even when it was on the board.
On board. Yeah.
So that would kind of make me
Wonder if it
lead.
has something to do with my knees too, right? It's the
Yeah.
tendonitis I've been dealing with.
It could be, or it could do with the ankles.
Oh yeah.
So if we look at your ankles first, then maybe this could
Because
be
that
the
could be
whole
affecting
reason.
why the knees.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So
That'd be the
next
next
steps. What's next steps? Next steps are we follow up with an actual
Like assessment, yeah.
assessment.
So we would work on the hips first, because that's like the protocol for FMS. Is you determine like what's the kind of the weakest link, and since you have weakest links kind of thing in the hips as well as shoulders, we would go with the hips first.
Okay.
That's kind of like what we're taught, right? So you go hips first,
Yeah.
and then we'd go through that assessment, come up with some corrective strategies,
Yeah.
and then it'd be another one for shoulders,
Okay.
and some corrective strategies, and then keep going.
Because I wanted 21.
Yeah.
I want to be Superman.
Yeah, it's a 20.
Or at least Super Moose.
This potentially could possibly be something that I score at some point in time.
What was that?
This potentially could be something that I score higher than you at some point in time.
Yeah,
Possibly.
Christy and I aren't competitive at all. No. Especially on our FMS scores.
Yeah.
Who scored better than who?
Yeah. Do it. You guys both.
I challenge everybody out there in the social media world, go get your FMS score, because you probably all kicked my butt. Awesome. Well,
Cool.
double A.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
That was awesome, and it didn't hurt as much as I thought it would.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt at all. But follow up in a few weeks. We'll be following up this post with a secondary post and video as we go through the screening process a little bit deeper and figure out where my dysfunction's coming from. And it's not coming from home. It's not Christy's fault. She's holding the camera right now. She's laughing hysterically. No, stink eye for sure. Anyways, Coach Moose, over and out. And thanks again, Double A.
Thank you. Awesome.
Try his name one more time.
What?
Anthony.
Anthony Agatarp.
Agtrop.
Agatrap.
Agtarap. It's like
Agtarap.
I'm gonna like write it. So everyone always adds that second A in there. I don't know why.
Agtrap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. So Agtarap.
Agtarap.
So actually, the actual way is like you do roll the R. You do.
Yeah.
Like my dad does. Agtarap.
Agtrap.
Agtarap. All right.
Thanks, Engineered Bodies, for hosting us.
Sweet.
I've got you both, but you got to look up at my hand.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Just keep an eye on the lines.
Sure.
And then when we're talking, we can get up there.
Okay. Okay.
That's okay. Di Manuel, Coach Moose here. And today, what's going on? Well, I am. Don't worry about that one. No, that's
Leave it in.
That's not it.
Say leave it in.